if you're able to get the dynamics between the 7th lord of the D1 chart, the Lagna chart, and the 7th lord of the D9, the Navamsa, right, then you could put forth a series of actions in place. For example, choosing the right person, knowing what the person will bring, what challenges the person may bring, what pitfalls the relationship may bring, also what could be the character and the nature of the person, and then be able to use it to your advantage rather than a disadvantage. Hello, Namaskar and Adab to all my friends from your friend astrologer and guide Irfan, once more with you from your very own channel Astro Assurance. A number of videos I have already done on relationship. There is in fact a playlist with many other playlists called the relationships playlist, and I have put in that playlist a number of videos regarding relationship. However, I see that in spite of putting so many videos on the Navamsa, the relationship between the spouse and the person in terms of the placements of the D1 chart, placements of the 7th house, the 7th lord, the Dharakaraka, the placement of the Dharakaraka in the Navamsa, the placement of different planets in the Navamsa, retrograde, 7th lord, and so on and so forth, how Venus plays a part in the relationship, how different other planets play a part, and doing a number of videos. Yet I see that people keep asking these questions again and again related to that, okay, this is my planetary placement, or this is my 7th lord's placement in the D1 chart, but it goes in this particular sign and this particular house in the D9 chart. What does it mean? So let me try and lay some doubts to rest, and maybe try and allay some fears, and also bring in some degree of confidence and clarity as well in terms of the relationship and the dynamics between the 7th lord of the D1 chart, the Lagna chart, and how it will tie up with the 7th lord of the D9 chart, the Navamsa chart. Now, I've said this in a number of my videos that the 7th lord of the D1 chart, where it's placed, will talk about the resource. What is the resource for a relationship? The resource for a relationship is your partner, your spouse. And so wherever the 7th lord is placed within the D1 chart will tell you where the resource is coming from. The dignity of the 7th house will tell you how the relationship will turn out. But the 7th lord will tell you what is happening to the spouse, what is going through the spouse's life, ups and downs, and how you are seeing the spouse. So there is a difference between the dignity of the 7th house and the dignity, the placement and the strength of the 7th lord also. So one needs to learn to be able to see the difference between what's happening to the relationship and what's happening to the partner. For example, your partner may be very good, however, because of circumstances, the partner may be forced to go far away from where you are living. Maybe you're living with the kids, especially if you're a woman, the husband has to travel. So because of circumstances, there is degree of distance between the two partners, in spite of both of them loving each other and wanting to be close to each other. So here, the 7th house will show challenges, but the 7th lord may show distance, but the 7th lord may still be placed in a good dignity, in good strength, and maybe in good signs. So the 7th lord is placed well, the spouse is doing very well, the spouse is working in a good company, but spouse, there is a distance between the person and the spouse, the partner, but the distance is also creating challenges in the relationship, which means in the marriage. So the 7th house may show some challenges, but the 7th lord may be placed well. So one has to be able to see now not only the placement of the 7th lord of the D1 chart within the D1, but what is eventually happening to the partner, what is eventually happening to the relationship. Because the D1 chart shows you what is possible, but the D9 chart tells you what may turn out to be as terms of probability, and in terms of how over a period of time the relationship will turn out, will play out. That change in the relationship status, change in the relationship dynamics will also be seen through the change in the dynamics between the 7th lord of the D1 chart and the 7th lord of the D9 chart. So for example, the 7th lord within the D1 chart, how many houses it is going away from the 7th house, whether it is going in an inimical sign, in a friendly sign, will also show that how is the relationship starting off. So at the start of the relationship, in the early stages of the relationship, is the spouse going through challenges, is the marriage going through challenges, is the relationship going through issues, problems, or the initial part is good because the 7th lord in the D1 chart is well placed and good dignity. But the D9 chart's placement of the 7th house lord and what is the dignity of the 7th house will tell you that how the relationship will turn out eventually, how the spouse will turn out eventually, whether the challenges, the situations, the issues in the relationship has taken a toll on the relationship, has taken a toll on the partner, has taken a toll on the love, the affection, the closeness, the attachment, the reciprocity between the partners, or it has become weakened and it has also worsened. So for example, the 7th lord, if it's in the Kendra houses or the trine houses within the D1 chart, will show that the relationship started off well. 7th lord of the D1 chart is placed in good houses in the Kendra or the trine houses from its placement of the 7th house, which means there may be gains, there may be love, affection, there may be initial attraction, attachment also with the spouse, and spouse is also bringing in gains. The marriage or the union is also bringing in gains. However, if the 7th lord of the D1 then goes into the Navamsa in the D9 chart, shows and goes into tough houses, goes into tough signs, that means after the initial period of the relationship, as the relationship progressed, then how the relationship slowly turned out to be, what are the challenges, the issues, the problems which are slowly coming into the relationship, and how it is turning out. Because here we are talking about the 7th lord of the D1 chart itself, but how it is placed in the D9 chart, in what dignity. However, the placement of the D9 7th lord will show you what is eventually happening in the relationship, what is eventually happening between the partners, and how the partner is eventually turning out for you and for the relationship. So if the 7th lord in D1 chart is placed well, but if it gets into exaltation in the D9 chart, which means that initially the relationship may do very well, but later on also, as the marriage progresses, as the relationship progresses, the person may be doing very well, the relationship may also be doing very well. So the initial 3-4 years, 5 years of the relationship, because the 7th lord of the D1 chart is placed well in the D9 chart, shows that it may turn out well. However, if the 7th lord of the D9 chart is in an inimical sign, is in a dusthana, and is in a bad yoga, in a bad placement, then it shows that over a period of time, the situations around, the environment around, the problems, the challenges have taken a toll both on the relationship as well as the partner. And how you see the relationship with the partner, how you see the relationship. So the relationship between the 7th lord of the D1 chart and the 7th lord of the D9 chart becomes very, very important, especially if you are making a decision where you are in the initial dating phase, or initial knowing each other's phase, or in the initial trying to know whether this person shows promise, should I take it forward. Then it's important that when you are starting off the relationship, then you can see how the relationship will progress, how your equation with the partner will progress over a period of time, and eventually what is the higher probability of the relationship and the partner ended up becoming. Because this D9 chart is more about probabilities, whereas the D1 chart is more about possibilities. So in simple terms, if the 7th lord of D1 chart is very well placed, in good dignity, in good signs, but the 7th lord of the D9 chart is not well placed, so it shows that the progression of the relationship, the progression of the dynamics between the partners, the progression of how the partner is treating you, and the progression of how eventually the relationship will end up, will show that the progression may not go through smooth step or smooth trajectory, but it may go through huge ups and downs and challenges and problems also. So here then the challenge for the partners will be higher, because now the partners are able to see that eventually this is where we may go, we may end up with. So it is work in progress. So they will have to work harder during the middle phases of the marriage to keep the love and affection intact, to keep the attraction intact, to keep the desire intact, and also more space giving to each other, more tolerant to each other, and try to persevere the relationship and also be more patient in the relationship and treat each other better. Treating each other better also comes when you lower the expectations from the spouse over a period of time rather than becoming over dependent, over clingy, and asking more time, more attention, and even for more financial support. If you become more independent, if you give more space to a partner, say for example you are in love with somebody, but you see that the horoscopes between your and the other person, the partner, is more or less showing the same pattern. Your 7th lord in the D1 chart is very well placed, but in your D9 chart the situation is not so good. And same more or less the similar pattern for the partner also, because if it's complementing, if there is balancing, then there is still some more hope that the relationship may not turn out to be as challenging as your Navamsa is showing. But if the pattern is similar between your D9 chart and the D9 chart of the partner as well, then there is greater possibility, greater probability that the relationship may run into rough weather. So it becomes important that when you see the trajectory of the relationship over a period of time getting into rough weather, then before it gets into rough weather, you need to steer clear of those challenges, expect less from each other, become more independent, give more space to each other, become more tolerant, become more patient, and keep the romance alive, keep the attraction alive, keep the desire alive too. So learn to understand these placements, because these can be a wake-up call for you before the relationship is lost. For example, if the 7th lord of the D1 chart is inimical to the 7th lord of the D9 chart, then it shows that there could be initial challenges, ups and downs in the relationship also, and if they are not smoothened over, then this trajectory could continue over life, because the D1 7th lord is inimical to the 7th lord of the D9 chart. So while you may start off very well, but every now and then some challenge, some issue may eat into the relationship, will eat into how you treat each other or the partner treats you. Say for example, if the 7th lord of the D1 chart is Moon, whereas the 7th lord of the D9 chart is Saturn. So here you may start off with a strong emotional attachment, strong empathy for each other, but because the D9 chart 7th lord is Saturn, which means over a period of time, the attraction towards each other, the support for each other, the emotional connect with each other may lessen over a period of time, and then the relationship may end up becoming very boring. Be like, okay, I need to follow rules and regulations. This is the rules and regulations to have a stable married life. So then the partners are just working on the perseverance of the marriage, on the stability on the marriage, rather than allowing the emotional attachment that you started off with Moon being the 7th lord and then it deteriorating over a period of time. Because they are inimical Moon and Saturn to each other, then it is almost given that the trouble will ensue over a period of time in the relationship. On the other hand, again, if there are inimical forces where D1 7th lord is Sun while the D9 7th lord is Saturn, so you may start off with trying to take responsibility, trying to take accountability for each other, trying to help each other, trying to rush to help each other, trying to take a leadership where responsibilities are concerned, wanting to give a better time or more easy time to the partner. But because this D9 7th lord is Saturn, which means over a period of time you may want to give up more responsibility towards the partner or start complaining, or the partner may start complaining that you don't take responsibility, I did so much for you, you are somebody who's always letting things on my shoulders or wanting me to do more in the relationship. You're not contributing enough, you're not caring enough, you're not the person who I started off to be with. What happened to you? Why did you change? So the attachment, the love and affection, the relationship going strength to strength slows down and in fact becomes stagnant, which the slowness of Saturn represents. On the other hand, if the D1 7th lord is, say for example, Jupiter and the D9 7th lord is Mars, here they are friendly, but the characteristics of the planets are very different from each other. So while you may start off wanting or expecting your partner to be very wise, very stable, very large-hearted, and wanting to support you and to be having the wisdom to be able to take care of the relationship, that's what you expect, that's what you start off with. But over a period of time, because the 7th lord of the D9 chart is Mars, there may be aggression which is built in, there may be rushing into challenges or challenges coming upon you, issues coming upon you, and there will be the keeping the relationship intact will itself become a fight, and keeping the relationship, persevering the relationship itself may become a goal, because rather than focus on some other goals, you are trying to preserve the marriage because your Jupiter and Mars are involved, especially if they go into inimical signs in the D1 chart and the D9 chart. So you may start off wanting to be with a wise person, but then you become too goal oriented also, too expecting of the partner, and then lose a wise person in the bargain because you are expecting something different. Your goals are very, very different. Your expectation from the relationship is very different. Your expectation from the partner are very, very different. So rather than taking a very wise stand, a wise approach to your partner, or your partner taking a wise approach to you, you become more goal oriented. You become more materialistic in your approach. And sometimes if Mars is not well placed, you may become even more fearful of the partner. On the other hand, if it's Moon and Mercury, then you may expect the partner to be very emotional, expect the partner to be understanding, expect the partner to be empathetic, but the partner may turn out to be too analytical, too complaining, too fault finding, because Moon and Mercury are not friendly to each other. If there are friendly planets to each other, then you may start off with a certain different energy, but you may still become analytical, complaining, because Mercury is involved. However, this analysis may be to help the partnership, to help the relationship, and to keep the relationship on a more logical term rather than going south and making silly mistakes in the relationship. Then the sign in which the 7th lord of the D9 chart is going will eventually tell you how the overall relationship will turn out to be, especially if the 7th lord of the D9 chart is going into an inimical sign. So if, for example, if the D9 7th lord is Mars, and then Mars is getting debilitated within the D9 chart going into the Cancer sign, then it shows that you must have started off the relationship with a lot of attraction and being on the same page with goals. However, over a period of time, because of not meeting your goals, because remember, Mars is about goals. Mars is the 7th lord in your D9 chart, in your Navamsa chart, and because it is the 7th lord, so there are a lot of common goals which also become the cementing factor of the relationship. And now if Mars itself is getting debilitated in the D9 chart, it means that the ability of the team, both the partners, the person and the partner, the ability to be able to reach common goals, have common goals, see in the right direction or see in the same direction is lost. And because of this being lost in goals, or having different goals, or goals being separate over a period of time, the relationship goes through challenges, problems, issues, where the attraction is lost, and the aggression, the anxiety, the frustration will come, and fights will come as a result of this goal orientation becoming different. On the other hand, if the D1 7th lord is not well placed, for example, shows challenges, shows issues, but the D9 7th lord is very well placed, which means that initially the relationship may have gone through challenges, issues, problems. But if the relationship survives, then it shows over a period of time, the relationship has turned to become more friendly to you, the relationship has become more prosperous for you, the relationship has become more stable for you. However, if the D1 7th lord is not well placed, is gone into an inimical placement, gone into a Dusthana, placed into an aggressive sign, then there may be a chance that the first relationship may be severed, a socially acknowledged relationship I'm talking about. But if the D9 7th lord is placed very well, is exalted, is placed in own sign, or is placed even in a friendly sign, which means that the second relationship, which is a socially acknowledged relationship, that relationship may do very well, that relationship may be more stable, that relationship may become very prosperous for you, and also this is the relationship which will keep and go long term. Then the dignity of the lords is also important. So if the dignity of the 7th lord of the D1 chart is good, and say it's Moon, then the partner may be more loving, more caring, more attachment oriented, more emotionally connected to you. But if it's not well placed, then starting off in the relationship, while there may be love, affection, attachment, but slowly over a period of time, especially in the first 3, 4, 5 years in the relationship, if the 7th lord is Moon and not in good dignity, then within a few years there may be emotional challenges, emotional issues also in the relationship. On the other hand, if the 7th lord is a planet which is in good dignity, which means in spite of the emotional initial challenges, problems, issues, if the 7th lord of your D9 chart is Mars and plays very well, then the partner becomes a person who is a motivator for you, a problem solver for you, a person who will stand by you. If it's Jupiter, then the person is large-hearted, treats you very well, is very, very patient, and is a strong support system for you. In the D9 chart, if it's Saturn and it's placed very well, then it brings in a lot of stability, brings in a lot of perseverance, brings a lot of loyalty and commitment into the relationship. If it's Venus, then it brings in a lot of love, romance, intimacy, and the relationship will go long term and the romance will be intact. The need for each other will be intact. The softness for each other will also be intact, and this relationship will attract a lot of gains, will also attract a lot of prosperity, especially because of how the partner is treating you, how the partner is treating the relationship. Why? Because the 7th house is more about the relationship itself. The 7th lord is about how the partner will be and how you will be seeing the partner, how the partner will be treating you, because of which you see the partner in a certain light. Now the houses that the 7th lord of the D1 chart is from the 7th lord of the D9 chart will also bring in its own dynamics. For example, if the 7th lord of the D1 chart is placed very well in a Kendra house or a trine house, but the 7th lord of the D9 chart goes in the 6th house from the D1 7th lord, or goes into the 12th house from the D9 7th lord, or goes into the 8th house from the D9 7th lord, then this will show that over a period of time the relationship is transformed into one of issues, problems, challenges. The 6th house placement may bring in sicknesses, illnesses, or problems because of debts, loans that the relationship is getting into or the partner is getting into. If the difference between where the 7th lord is placed in the D1 chart, from which house the D9 chart 7th house placement is 8 houses away. For example, the D1 7th lord is placed in the 2nd house, but the D9 7th lord has gone into the 9th house, 8 places away, then it shows that the partner may go through some obstacles, challenges, issues from time to time. The obstacles may keep the partner sometimes a little indifferent to you also, and you may also see the partner going through a transformation or the relationship going through a transformation, and then you may feel, is this the same person who I fell in love with, who I wanted to be with? This person seems to be very, very different. So the obstacle, the issues, the challenges, because to the partner and because of coming into the relationship, may create challenges more for the partnership also, and also because of the issues to the partner or the partner bringing in those issues to the relationship. If the D1 7th lord and the D9 7th lord are 12th to each other, especially the D9 7th lord has gone 12th to the D1 7th lord, then it means in spite of all your efforts, all your compromises, all your sacrifices, come what may, the relationship is not turning out to be as prosperous, as giving, as earning for you, which the potential started off with. But if the D1 7th lord and the D9 7th lord are in Kendra to each other, trine houses to each other, for example, the D1 7th lord is in the 5th house and the D9 7th lord is in the 9th house, then they are in trine houses of 5 houses from each other. And especially if they are in friendly sign, then this is a much better placement where over a period of time, in spite of challenges, issues, problems, which because of the placements and other dynamics which may have come into the relationship, yet the relationship overall is a gain making placement, and over a period of time the relationship will prosper. The partner will also bring in the prosperity, the partner may also bring in the gains. But if the D1 7th lord is trine houses from the D9 7th lord, but they are in inimical signs to themselves, or they are not well placed, or even in debilitation or in eclipse, then the gains may come, but there would need to be a lot of effort, there would be a lot of give and take, there will be a lot of compromises, and over a period of time, because of being persevering in the relationship, working hard on the relationship, then the gains will come in, which means the couple will have to put in a lot of hard work to persevere, to keep patience, treat each other well, so that the gains come in over a period of time. So friends, I have given you a number of factors about the dynamics between the 7th lord of the D1 chart, the dynamics of the 7th lord of the D9 chart, the dynamics to each other, their placement, their dignity, the dosha, the yoga, the aspect they are in, and how overall where the relationship may start off with, how the relationship will progress, what the relationship may end up with. So If you are in the relationship, you're contemplating a relationship, or you are in the initial stages of the relationship, or your relationship has slowly started to go south, then it becomes very, very important for you to look deeply into the dignity and the dynamics and the relationship between the D1 7th Lord and the D9 7th Lord, and to be able to deeply understand it and to make and take those actions which will keep the relationship stable, keep the relationship prosperous, keep the love and affection in the relationship, rather than allowing the relationship to go south. So friends, like this video, share this video, and if you're looking for a personal consultation from me, please reach out to me at the link given below. Until some other time with some other video, this is your friend astrologer and guide Irfan signing off.